All right, guys, welcome back to the One Pot Podcast, episode 55. It's your boy Cian.
Trevor, of course.
And it's Donville.
Oh my gosh, guys. I know the last couple weeks I've been talking about giving you guys treats. I think it keeps getting sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. I have someone here. I think one of the most powerful spiritual person I've come across in a long time. Mm-hmm. I would say, as a husband, it's hard for me to even say this. He's one of the main reason why my wife has started on her journey towards the Lord. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce you guys to Pastor Andre Smith.
Hey, how y'all doing out there?
Doing good.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank y'all for inviting me. This is awesome.
Oh, yes. So Pastor Andre, I know you've just written your first book. It's called God's First Responders.
God's First Responder, called to the kingdom for such a time as this.
Yes.
Powerful. Now, let me go first, Pastor Andre. For this being your first time writing a book, give me a small insight what the process was.
Well, writing my first book was a very tedious process, but God brought me through it. Typically I'm not a book writer, and so when God began to give this title to me, and I'm like, well, Lord, what am I gonna do with God First Responder? And he was like, you're gonna write a book, and I'm like, oh, I am. Okay.
Wow.
So sometimes God tells us to do stuff that we really don't see or think that we're capable of doing, but God knows what we're capable of. He's put stuff in us, and He knows how to get stuff out of us. So when the title came to me, I started saying, okay, and this is not the first time I tried to write a book. This is the first time I finished the book. So,
Okay.
So many times we start stuff, but we don't never finish.
Now, was it the same book, or is it just different ones that you were doing?
It was different ones. I really didn't have a direction. I just started writing in different titles, different books. But when God gave me this title, it kind of gave me a focus of what to write.
Gotcha.
And I went from there.
Yeah,
Nice.
because the title is God First Responders. Now, for me, I basically put first responders with like EMTs, the ambulance. The before anything major happens, they're the one that comes to the scene and gets stuff started. Like, that's really what it is. Now, to me, that is powerful because all right, my favorite character in the Bible is Paul, or Saul of Tarsus, and I like the fact that he didn't want to just be in a church. He wanted to go out to the people. You don't want to be hiding behind the word. You got to be in front of the word. So that's where the title resonated with me first, more than anything else. Now, you said that you wrote a couple of books, right? You attempted. How long would you say it took you to write this book?
It really didn't take me that long once I began to focus on doing it and being committed to it. Because a lot of times we start stuff, but because we're not committed to it, we stop in the process or we get disinterested. But this time I stayed focused. I didn't try to overthink it, because when you overthink it, I'm a perfectionist. I want every word to sound right, so I end up doing it over about 10 times. Now I'm tired. I don't want to write no more. So this time I was like, I'm just going to write it with the flaws, and then I'll go back later and correct it and try to change it up. And that's what I did. I just kept writing. So that's what I would encourage authors to do. Don't stop. Just keep writing until you finish, and then go back, and then you can get it together. But when you were talking about the EMTs, that was my thought when I began to write it. There are first responders in the world, which is the doctors, the policemen, the firemen, the military, and all these people are responding to a crisis that happens. They all respond to a crisis, to an emergency. And so, firemen goes to put out a fire. Police goes to handle domestic situations. Military goes to, when there's a war situation going on. So all of us are called to do something, even though it may be different. So I'm called to be a preacher. I'm called to be an author. But you're called to be a radio host. And it's meeting a need. Someone needs to hear this podcast. Someone needs to hear what you have to give out. So you're answering a call, and you're meeting a need and a demand. So that's what I want to inspire people to let them know, that whether you're a school teacher or whether you work in the government, you're called to do something that's significant, that will make an impact. And we're doing it for God.
Right.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So when you got the first call to being a pastor, how was that? How was that process?
Well, I was working in ministry with my pastor for years, and so I was already, really trained to do it. And people had already said, "I see you're gonna be a pastor. You're gonna be a pastor." So when I got married and it was time to step out, it was people have horror stories, but mine was pretty good. My pastor said, "You serve very well, and I know God is calling you, and I release you to pastor, but I'm going to miss you." She said, "I don't know how I'm going to do without you because I did a little bit of everything in the ministry." Right. And, they kind of depended on me, but I knew God was calling me to do something different, do something significantly different. But at the same time, pastor, because I think I'm kind of drawn to the youth and the millennials and those that the older church kind of don't understand and it kind of give up on. But God has some first responders that will go into the trenches and deal with those people. Even though they have attitudes, even though they quit, go and encourage them and lift them up and give them that word they need. So God has people to respond to everything.
Now, I want to take the journey back. Trevor's question was, when do you become a pastor? Now let's go back, because I think the big question here is like, when did you find the Lord?
I found the Lord at an early age. But I didn't always live for the Lord. I grew up in church. I grew up a church boy, so I was always in church, always going to church, going to revivals. But then when I got a little older, I was going to the club and I was going to drinking and smoking and having a good time. But then eventually, one time I was in church and the Lord really touched me. And it wasn't just my mother's relationship or my friends. It was God dealing with my heart that you are mine and you need to give your life to me. So that time I really built my own relationship with God. I think a lot of times we are on the umbilical cord of somebody else's relationship, but the cord got cut and I had to have a relationship with God on my own.
Wow.
Now, you said that after, and I'm bringing this part up because you said something powerful, because my wife thing is, when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing.
Yes.
That's right.
And you stated that. So Chanel, I'll make sure I ain't forget about you, right? I know you wanted to be here for this one. This is your episode too. The question is, you said you started to be on your pastoral journey after you became married. Now, for me being married, it's a lot to juggle. You know what I mean? Because I see how my pastor serves and how dedicated he has to be, I would say, to the cause or to Christ. So there are times he's doing things away from the family, or that's keeping him away from the family. How did you make that happen? I mean, being a young couple and also trying to be a pastor.
How did I make that happen? Well, let's see. Well, it was a little difficult, but both of us were centered on ministry. She was a minister, a prophetess, and I was a pastor, and so we kind of gravitated to the pastorship. But we still have to balance family time. We still have to balance date night. We still have to balance not overdoing it in church. I see a lot of people, their whole pastorship is running the church, to choir practice, to the Bible study, and they don't have time for their family. So we don't overdo it. We don't overdrink. We give the people a word on Sunday. We may have a Bible study or something through the week, and they may have a choir practice, but we don't have overly demanding. We want people to enjoy their life, enjoy their family, and enjoy their family time. So it's a balance. It's always a balance, because there's revivals and different things that come up, counseling, for marriage, and I just try to make sure I balance it, and I don't try to overdo it. I spend time with my kids. Even I have to run sometimes to be at my daughter's karate practice, and she lights up when I come there. Daddy's here. And now my son is in karate, so I make sure I be to their graduations and stuff like that.
Now that's another important thing, because you're talking about karate. Now, karate has a lot to do with self-defense. I mean, that's the whole art of karate. Now, taken from what I understand from karate to the book being a first responder, my question would be, is like, how could someone be a first responder for God?
I think, all of us are first responders. We just got to identify what kind and what for. And a lot of times our giftings naturally gravitate us to what we're called to do. If you are a talker, you're going to do something. We're talking. Sometimes our gift is identified by the problems we see. If you are a person that just hates stuff and just not in order, or maybe you are an administrator and you're called to keep things in order. So we have to look internally and find out, what am I gifted and why am I gifted this way? Why am I wired this way? Because you're called to solve a problem. We just got to figure out what problem am I called to solve. So if you love working with the youth, then that's what you do. You're anointed. You're called to work with young people, and you have that tolerance to work with them. Where other people would get aggravated, and I don't know how you deal with them. Well, you're not called to that. So I'm a first responder because I'm doing this for God, to give them morals. I'm doing this for God, to make sure they're raised up healthily with the right mindset, making right decisions. So that's what a teacher's calling is, and that's what they love to do. So what is your passion? What are you passionate about? Because God gave us gifts, He gave us passions, and all this direct us to how we're responding. I believe that before there's a problem, God already made a solution, which is us. So when the problems rise up, God said, I have a solution. Just like when He made the world, and the world and the garden, He said, I got a solution, Adam. He's going to guard it and keep it. And when he got ready to flood the world and destroy it because of the wickedness, He said, I got a solution. Noah, build an ark. It's going to save lives. So I believe that what a first responder does is save lives.
Right.
I'm building something. I'm teaching something. I'm depositing something. I'm making an organization or something to save people's life.
Yeah, you said something real important there, is that a lot of people, they will, instead of saying, what can I do, they'll just be like, oh, well, I need to change myself to fit this mold so I can contribute, to the kingdom or to the work that's being done. And I think it is very important for everyone to understand, like, their role, what they bring to the table and how that's unique. And that's something they need to do. They can't just depend on everyone else to do it, but they do have a specific role just in life in general.
I also like to think that, a lot of times people will want to be a carbon copy of someone else. But be yourself. God made you to be an original. Now, you can get information from someone else. You can get knowledge from someone else. When I was following behind my pastor, going to speaking engagements and stuff like that, I was learning, I was gathering information, I was growing. But when I got up to preach and pastor myself, I don't do it the same way that my pastor did. I do it the way that God gave me the tools to do it.
It's your style.
That's true.
And that's very important. You talked about being yourself. I'm very big on my unique style, flavor, and personality. I'm not saying I'm trying to go to the deep end of the pool to be different. So that's to me that's very powerful, especially for our youth listening to hear. It's like you don't have to fit somebody else's mold. God has a mold for you, right? You just need to fit that mold, not conform to what everybody else's want.
Right.
Now, Pastor Andre, in the first responder, right? I want you to give me the biggest takeaway you can say from reading your book.
One of the biggest takeaways, I want to really give people a hunger for the word. So I've written it with different perspective. I did a lot of study. I always study the Bible and do research, and so there's a lot of things in there that not typically in a book, or some that you expect to be in there, or a perception or a version that you never heard of before. Like, for instance, Abel was the first prophet. He was the world, and like, what? So when you dig into the word and you find scriptures, it starts identifying different things and showing you stuff and things that we overlook all the time. So I want to make people hungry for the word, and then I want to make people answer their call, whatever their call is, to realize that God has called you for a specific purpose and a reason. Don't give up on yourself. Don't look down on yourself. Don't belittle yourself. Whether it's a big calling or a smaller assignment, all of us have something to do. It kind of reminds me of in the Bible about the handmaiden that gave a word to Naaman's wife, and because she gave the word to Naaman's wife, he ended up getting healed and he ended up serving God. So I'm going to serve God. But if she would have looked at, I'm just a little handmaiden, my impact is not going to be effective. She never would have spoke to Naaman's wife. So all of us can have impact no matter what level we're on.
Wow. That is powerful. And you talk about Abel being the first prophet, because I mean, from my perspective, Cain killed Abel. Now, let me jump to a whole deep end of the pool. Why does it seem like all the first responders in the Bible gets killed?
Sometimes they get killed, but they cause a great change and shift in the world. And, so there are some that got killed. I know Cain killed Abel, but there are some that live to an old age also.
Yeah.
So, the devil, the enemy, always wants to kill God's people.
Right,
We're always on the hit list.
Yeah.
But when we stay in God's will, we will live a long and prosperous life. So I believe that God wants us to live long and prosperous, but he doesn't want us to step outside of his will. And when we do, he'll sometimes gently and sometimes not so gently nudge us back in the right direction.
Right.
I don't believe that we are all going to be, super saved where we never do anything wrong, but we're all in a process of being changed and growing and maturing in God and maturing in life and maturing in who we are and what our identity is. So I don't preach in a way that will just beat people down. I'm called to build you up. And the more I build you up, the more you'll want to change. A lot of times we try to correct people by beating them and, arguing and fussing. But if I can encourage you and instill in you that you are better than where you are and what you're doing, then you'll want to change because you'll start seeing yourself differently. I think people are trapped in stuff because they see themselves as no good or see themselves as less than. But if I can show you how God sees you, then you'll automatically rise up and be a first responder.
Now, this is a very crazy question. I've come to understand that when you're a first responder in any field that you're in, you're always there during the heat of battle. So you're always there when conflict is going on. Now, being a first responder as a pastor, how do you deal with conflict in the heat of the moment?
Well, like you said, we're always in the heat of the moment in the battle because we're called to the crisis.
Right.
We're called to the problem. So
Instantly.
by the time you call the pastor, it's like, Pastor, we about to break up. What
Right when everything hits the floor, like, I need pastor now.
right now,
First
when
responder.
someone's sick. They're going through a bad situation. Pastor, I need you to come pray at the hospital. If they're getting ready to take a test, and they come, Pastor, I need you to pray. I need to pray for this test. So we're always called to a crisis situation. And basically, I'm built for it is one reason or answer. And another answer is I'm anointed for it. So, I'm built for it because I have the capability to deal with it. And a lot of things that would bother other people don't really bother me. I kind of like it. I like counseling. I like helping people through marriage. I like building someone's self-esteem up and encouraging them. That's what I'm built for. And so when you're called to something, you're built for it. You might not always like it at some moments, but your engine starts to turn it, to do this. Just like this whole podcast, you got the engineers and different things. Y'all engines start, I can do it this way, I can do it that way, I can set it up that way, because you're called to do that when someone else would be so frustrated. So
That's true.
Now,
Facts.
question. This is from the wives, right? And I want to make sure I say that one loosely for all the wives. Before I get to the how did, my wife feels like there's always just a strong woman being a successful man, right? How has your wife been beneficial to you during this process of you writing The First Responder?
my wife, if you know my wife, she is a very determined woman. I can't really give you her whole testimony, but she went from the streets and selling drugs and carrying a pistol and doing some
Sharon.
crazy stuff. I mean, I think she told me her testimony after we were married. I got you now, so.
Why is that a trend lately, guys? I want you guys to understand that is a trend.
Get the preview.
You get a preview first,
After you get married, you get the whole story.
Yeah.
That's a
Hold
awesome
on.
movie.
Yeah, you could have told me this before. I would have. Now I'm here. I made a. But that's a whole other conversation. that is a definite. Oh man, that is powerful because my thing is I know that, as I said earlier, it's a lot, and I know writing takes a lot out of you. You know, you got to put time and effort, and Pastor Andre, you have kids. You have 2 beautiful kids. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if there's any more lingering that I don't know about. All right, just making sure, just making sure, and to watch you balance all of that. And plus, I know you work, and I want to say this, guys. There is a working pastors out there. Because Pastor Andre, and I'm gonna say it this way. When I grew up, I'd never known any pastor to have a job.
Wow.
Yeah, same here.
That's
really?
me. Yeah, that's the reason why I'm saying it. Download. You probably know a couple. That's why you said really. But
That don't have a job. That have a job.
That does have a job.
Oh, yeah. He just had a job.
Yeah. See, I didn't. So when I met Pastor Andre, and I realized that we work together. Like, you work. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You a pastor?
Like 9 to 5, and then
9 to 5,
24/7.
Because a lot of people feels like being a man of God is easy. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people don't understand that it comes with a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of sacrifice. Mm-hmm. So you're constantly being pulled in so many different directions. I want to know how do you deal with being pulled in so many different directions?
Well, pray a lot.
Right.
That's a definite.
But if your ministry can handle your life and lifestyle,
yes,
then I can see people not working. But if you're not working, then you're working full time in ministry. You should be visiting the sick. You should be doing counseling. You should be doing a lot of things. So it's not just a free card, like as people think. I'm a pastor. I just sit back and I preach on Sunday and I just get paid. No, it's a whole lot of things that you should do behind the scenes also. Right. And I work because our ministry is not all that big, and so we don't want to drain the people. We don't want to try to get all this money out of the people to sustain our lifestyle. We want to make sure it's easy on them, and we want to live the lifestyle. We want to be blessed too. We want to have cars too. So I don't want to be a poor pastor, but at the same time, I don't want to stress the people out. So we work. Matter of fact, as we talk about this, I'm going to go back to my wife. She came from the streets, but she worked her way up to the LPN program. Okay. And then she went to the RN program, and she graduated. Nice. And right now she's in the nurse practitioner program. Okay. Wow. So she is one of my biggest inspirations. That's awesome. Someone can come from the street, come from selling and shooting and everything else, to now she's a woman of God and she's a nurse practitioner and working on being a nurse practitioner. She should be soon. And so if she can do it, then I believe anybody can do it. We can change our life around.
So you were right, Cian, because that's definitely a strong woman.
It's a strong woman
to go through all that and then still progress and still be growing now with kids. Man, that's off to her.
Well, and to the sense that Pastor Andre, it made her be a first responder as well, because that is extremely pretty big to see that you're calling. And as we're more around ministry, you hear the word headship a lot, right? And when you read the Bible actually lets you know that as a husband, you're supposed to be the head of your family, so you can lead them in the direction they need to go. I mean, be that strong backbone that they need. So to watch that your wife, coming from her background, look at you as a first responder, which end up making her a first responder. So this is very strong to tell anyone in a relationship that, look, your significant other is a reflection of you.
That's true.
Man.
To me, that is very, very, very powerful. Don't hesitate on stopping the knowledge. Now, based on stopping the knowledge, Pastor Andre, what are some of the feedback that you normally get from some of your readers?
Right now, I'm getting very positive feedback, even from my pastor friends, even from people that just getting back interested in the Bible, getting back interested in God. They're learning a lot, a lot of things that I put in it, nuggets in it that will just give people a hunger to read more. And I believe that's what I want, people to read the Bible and get a different perspective and get closer to God. And I think a lot of times we have a misconception of a relationship with God, that you have to, wear all white and you have to be so, I like to wear wear stuff, jeans, and I don't look like the typical pastor.
Yeah.
But my relationship is in my heart. So I want to encourage people that you can have a relationship in your heart with God. You can pray, you can be cool, but at the same time be in love with God and be the best you can be. So I that's one of my points. I want to encourage people. You can you don't have to be a stiff. You can you can be alive. You can live. Me and my wife go to the movies. When we got married, we were going on cruises, and we were enjoying ourselves, but we were also taking God with us everywhere we go.
Man, I remember you were a big Game of Thrones fan.
I still like Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Okay, this might be a side note. How do you feel about the finale of Game of Thrones?
It was okay. It was kind of a letdown, I wanted some more stuff to happen. I like the Game of Thrones. I like superhero movies. I grew up on comic books, so I'm really big on that, and X-Men and stuff. It kind of reminds me that we are supernatural beings also, even though we don't have powers like the X-Men, but we do have prayer power. We have power to influence. We have power to encourage. And so we do have a superpower, which is the anointing of God on our life. And so if we think of it that way, we would naturally gravitate in doing something for God.
Extraordinary.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big Game of Thrones fan too, but not to jump off in the deep end of the pool. Go ahead, Don, because my mind has been far.
I want to switch gears real quick. So you did do youth pastoring for quite a bit of time. What do you think about today's generation? We're in our 30s. We're kind of. I got kids. I know Cian's got kids.
Yes.
Trevor will have kids soon.
Next year.
We're going to pray for that.
Jeez.
And as we get older,
rolling their eyes right now.
as we get older, we're kind of further away from that youth generation. We see things that are going on, but we don't really get to understand like what they're going through, things like that. As a youth pastor, what are things that you've seen with this generation now?
Well, this generation is a lot different from the generations past. They're exposed to so much different stuff. The laws are different. We got so much stuff in our computers, in our phones, the computer in the phone. Anything you look up. So they're exposed to so much that we didn't have the privilege to be exposed to at that early age. And so right now we're in a state where a lot of people and the young people are not going to church. It's kind of falling away. And so I think that God is raising up first responders to get people back interested into God, into church, into things like that. Morals, morals have kind of faded away.
Wow.
People young people don't have feelings. When I used to do things wrong, I did it wrong, but I felt that I did it wrong.
Yeah.
But nowadays they were raised so far from morals and prayer, and they don't really feel that what they do is wrong. And so God is raising up people to remind them, hey, God is watching. Hey, you're not perfect, but try to live your best life. Try to, develop that consciousness that hey, I don't want to do people wrong. I want to love people. I want to help people. And so it's a little difficult challenge how to reach the young people, but like I said, we are called to it, and God gives us strategic ways to draw them. I know a lot of churches is having movie nights, so they will all the whole church to the movie,
Yes.
and use that as a witnessing tool or use that as ways of encouragement. I have a men's group at my church, and I love to pour into men, young fathers, young men, because a lot of things that I learned along the way was the hard way, because I didn't have a father in the home. I had a father, but he wasn't in the home with us, and so I had to learn things the hard way. So I want to pour the knowledge I had into another generation, that they won't have to suffer through what I had to suffer through, that they would get the knowledge of how to be a father, how to be a husband, how not to blow your top because of this happened in marriage. That's normal. That's one of the most powerful things that happened to me when I was going through someone. That's normal. Yeah, and it kind of made me chill, like, for real.
That's true. I know we talk about it, like, even with Sienna, I'm like, man, my wife did this, and he's like, yeah, my wife told me, like, your wife did that too? What?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess my wife isn't crazy.
And it's normal.
I'll give her that pass. And Trevor's seen it all from us, so he's like, oh, well, I know what to expect.
So when you see whenever you see the craziness coming sideways, just look at him like, look, you're already built for this. Yeah. And I mean, I'm very big on reaction. So as you leading and you're giving young men or young fathers these ideas of examples, it's prepping them for their position, because sometimes you don't know your female or your wife is going to say something crazy and how you're going to respond. But if somebody else who's been inside of the situation, who's been there, can tell you how you can like adjust to it. But like, look, your wife may say this, but this is how you respond to it.
Yeah.
You know, and the Bible teaches a lot because the first thing it says is that soft answer turn it away wrath, right? But a lot of times we don't take that advice. We go in there, as my mom would have said, steadfast, like we're trying to go strong. And sometimes being two people trying to be strong at the same time just comes to an as they said, an immovable object because there's two forces that's clashing. So nobody's getting anywhere, and then all you do is causing destruction. But what you need to do is turn that energy around and direct it to another direction. You'd be surprised that when both backs are together, what it could create. So you know, these are the nuggets that I can tell you that drips.
And even with brothers, you know, as men, like having other men that would edify you, that would encourage you.
Yes.
That is key.
Yes.
Because, you know, as much as you got your wife, you got your girlfriend, whatever, you know, you guys are arguing or you guys just talking about different things, having another man's perspective is just important. You know, if it's a father, if it's a uncle, a friend, it's important to have that because iron does sharpen the iron.
Right. Yes,
and we've all been friends for a long time. And there's been times where somebody had, you know, another man had to come in and say, "Hey, you were wrong," you know, and you gotta receive it. You gotta, you know, build from that.
Well, I
That
mean,
type of stuff's important.
and Donville, that's important because I guess that's where a first responder would come in because you're the first person, the first line of defense. I'm gonna use the criminal justice system as flawed as it is at this moment. When you see the police officer, that is the first line that something is going to happen. After the police officer comes, it depends on what you do, you go to jail. After jail comes a courthouse, right? But if you can get a lot of stuff fixed from the first response, you don't have to go through the long process.
Right.
That's true.
You don't. If, for example, before the fireman comes and tells you that, you know, you're going to burn the house down, he's going to tell you, look, we got to out the fire first, right? And you can't have these things sit in the same area again because that's technically a fire hazard.
Even better yet, you know, check your smoke detector.
Check your smoke detector.
That would preach like make sure
every year.
Make sure you got your batteries in your smoke detectors. You know, do that test.
And
It's true.
It's funny how you said that. I went to my father-in-law's house because I'm the one who switched the battery out, right?
Yeah.
So I'm swapping the battery and I'm doing the test. Like he set it off and the whole house started beep 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 beep, and it's going off and I'm like, yep, it works. It's working. And he's looking at me like, same time next year, and I'm like, yeah,
Same time
next year.
That's true, man.
Yeah, but you know, we have to be first responders because if I want you guys to understand, without first responders being out there, a lot of times we're gonna be left to waste.
That's it.
So we need that. And for Pastor Andre to help leading this process for the first responders, to me is very important. You know, we need people. I'm not gonna say it's not just about leadership; it's right leadership.
Right.
And that's where it comes from. Now, Pastor Andre, I know you finished the first response, right? This is my question, and this is for all of the readers out of who's read the book and who's loved it. Is there going to be a second version?
Yes, I'm already started writing on the second version. This is called God First Responders, and the next one should be called God's Freedom Fighters.
Freedom Fighters.
So y'all keep me in prayer on that.
Oh my gosh! Now I want to dig. Now we want to dig.
Sounds like they're in the battle, in the midst of it.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's give us a little. And guys, this is us digging deep, right? I guess this is what we're here. Some of us got to dig, right?
Yeah.
Now, Pastor Andre, what can we look forward to from the Freedom Fighters?
Well, and the Freedom Fighters, we're dealing with people that as called to war. So that is a very, very high crisis situations. And so, you know, when, for instance, if someone's getting ready to get divorced or someone's getting ready to make major life changes, you know, and it could be because of anger or unforgiveness, that crisis person is going to come in and let them know, you know, look at yourself, look at where you're going, look at what you're losing, you know. And sometimes we're so blind to what we're losing because we want to prove our point that we missed the whole blessing in the process. And one of the things I would tell men at the men's meeting or group is we have to build communication. With marriages, I think the problem is a lack of communication, and not only a lack of communication, but a lack of understanding one another. Every word means something different than it means to me. For instance, when I say I apologize, some women see that as generic. They want to hear I'm sorry. You're right. So if I keep saying I'm sorry, I apologize, she's not receiving it because she's not. And her definition is not the same as saying I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So it's really translating. For the men, how to deal with their wives. A lot of times I end up saying, well, what did she say? And when they tell me what she said, I say, well, it sounds to me she's saying she wants attention and she wants you to, but she didn't say that. Why? I said, but listen, you have to know how to read between the lines. And so the longer you're married, the more you get to translate women's how they do things, how they say things, and I be very attentive to what they say because they give you little nuggets. They don't always tell you just straight out. Men are more just like, I don't like the chicken. They're not going to say that. They're going to say it all around, and you got us like, okay, what is she trying to say? I don't like the chicken, and I'm ready to go. Oh, okay. So that would save marriages a lot of times when we be able to translate what women are saying, and the earlier in marriage that we able to do it, the more time we'll save, the less trouble we'll have.
No, Pastor Andre, you said something very powerful, and you're talking about how people responded. Now, I had this conversation with my wife, and this to me is a big thing for anyone who's married or in a relationship. I ask her not to be too transparent, meaning that because I can't see something if I don't know it's there. Right. So, for example, baby, if you're hungry, don't look at me and be like, babe, I wonder if there's anything to eat. I need you to look at me and say, babe, I'm hungry. Would you mind cook me something? Right. And that's just coming straight forward with me. Sometimes as men, our mind is not, I'm not going to say my mind does, but not for everybody whose mind is going to calculate to the small innuendos.
We're not wired that way.
Yeah, we're not wired that way. So I would say this, please don't be too transparent. Just give it to us straight. And yes, sometimes depends on what you're giving to us straight. Our feelings may be hurt, but it's better you hurt my feelings now so I can deal with it than you sit here and then make stuff linger. Because when stuff lingers, a bigger issue happens, and at that point you're in a freedom fighter. You're just a defender,
right?
So and we want to stick to freedom fight. We ain't trying to defend anything. So I can definitely attest to that. But I would say this: I love the title. I've been going through this African phase lately. So when you talk about freedom fighters, it's funny. Wakanda forever.
Or even like wasn't it called the freedom fighters and back in the civil rights movement? So that came to my mind.
And to show you when you're fighting for freedom or you're fighting for God, right? Please understand it takes drastic measures. Just like Pastor Andre says, the freedom fighters, when they do come in, they're coming in at the moment of crisis. They're just like the first responders, but means that it's bigger. For example, when there's a small gang activity going on in the area, they call the police, right? When the gang activity gets a little bit bigger, they call the military. Right, and that's where the freedom fighter comes in,
or the task force,
That's that military. When the bomb's about to go off and the police can't defuse that bomb, they got to call the specialists. That's what that really is. And we all need specialists in our life, regardless if it's our pastor, our elders, wherever you find leadership in. And based on the leadership, and we're talking about first responders and freedom fighters, I want to talk about something important. I want to talk about young people getting mentoring, because mentoring will help create more freedom fighters and will make more people want to be first responders. I think that's very, very, very important. So in Pastor Andre, you said something about you like dealing with the youth. Now, to me, that is important, because guys, we know we'll go to this week. I'm Jamaican, right? When I look into my culture church, you don't see a lot of young pastors. Right. It's a lot of elderly pastor. And if you look at the congregation, it's more filled with elderly people, which is nothing wrong with that.
But they stay there until they die.
They do, Trev. They do.
Well, they should. But they should also bring in the next generation.
But you need the youth to carry the church on.
Yes, you do. And my thing is, when I was younger and I was going to church in Jamaica, I realized that most of the teenagers, the younger kids, they try to congregate outside of the church. You don't find them want to sit inside the church because they felt like whatever is being preached or taught is old, or it's not even on them. Now, Pastor Andre, I think this is one of the pastors you led my wife to with Dr. Matthew Stevenson.
That's my wife.
And see, yes,
I love him. He's awesome.
yeah. I like the way he preached because to me, I think he has a way to grasp a younger audience, and he grasps them with I'm gonna say. I'm not sure if this is a word. With radicality. His preaching is radical in a sense because he's in your face with the word, right? So there's no going around it, and I feel like that's what the generation now is kind of missing, is because this is from my perspective, guys. And guys, please drop a comment for this part. I feel like in the mainstream media things of Christianity, it's got watered down, or it got tailored to what they think people need. But instead of tailoring it to what they think people need or want to hear, just give them the facts. Right. The Bible is facts. It's not fiction. You feel me? So you giving me half the word is not going to help me. Just pour it all on me. How do I receive it? It will be a whole other conversation. But you can't change how people receive the word. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. You just got to make sure if there's anything you can change, is your delivery. So you got to know how to make that comes off. And we talked about not being perfect, because Pastor Andre said, look, just as much as he's a pastor, he's a human being, he's a man, right? When you read the Bible states that if God had to choose one person of his likeness, it would be David. I want to make sure I said that accurate, correct? Right? David wasn't perfect.
Nope.
But the Bible said David was a man of God's own heart.
Yes.
So what that shows you is that anybody out there who feels like they're on this journey for perfection, the only perfect being out there is Christ. Instead of trying to be perfect, just trying to walk in the light. That's just the way it is. I mean, I'm not gonna say you're not gonna. If you walk too bright in the light, you're gonna get burned. But if you stay in the darkness, you ain't gonna get no light. So you're just gonna slowly find your way to trickle over there. But I want to say, Pastor Andre, you have some powerful things going on.
Thank you. Praise God.
Some powerful information.
Yeah.
We will definitely support this book.
So definitely. So Pastor Andre, I gotta be honest. So I knew about you probably, it must have been at least 10 years now. It has to be about 10 years.
How?
Because he was always doing not 10 years. Because I'm basically talking about the in-work Bible studies you've been doing.
Yes.
Oh,
that has transformed my life.
Praise God.
And I don't even know you, but through the Bible studies, through the words you share with Trevor, Gerard, which passed over to CN, which passed over to me, to all of our friends. It's been powerful. There's multiple times we've been praying for your Bible study and things that's going on and things that are brought up, and we're like, we're going to pray about it.
Yeah, and Pastor Andre, Donva said something powerful, because Donva talked about how the word is traveled. Yes. It's to show you that you drop one little small nugget somewhere, or even not, just say you drop it at the top of the hill. You just don't surprise that when it rolled and tumbles down, how many people get affected by that hit.
Yes.
So that is powerful, because as I can tell you, I remember when my wife started, she had a lot of things that was settled in her mind, and she had a lot of direction she was trying to go with finding her Christianity. Now, I know her, as I said, the walk that she's on right now is a whole nother conversation. When you and her get together, she's gonna have a long talk with you. She wanted to be here today, but 3 kids is a handful at the moment, so she had to stay home. So she had to make that happen. So it is far beyond. So I want to say this, guys. You're touching lives with your knowledge. Now, Pastor Andre, I want to get some information out of you. Okay. I'm a needy. First and foremost, Pastor Andre, I want you to give me an address to where your church is located.
My church is located. Oh Lord, what is my church located?
No problem.
Where's my phone?
Oh, take your time, Pastor Andre.
I got to get it off my phone. Bring my phone.
There you go.
It's on Dixon Road. It's in Cocoa, Florida. I think it's 1228.
Okay.
Dixon Road or
Dixon
Way. Dixon Way.
Okay.
Okay.
Boulevard, Dixon Boulevard. So it's in Cocoa, Florida, just 1228 Dixon Boulevard. It's in the plaza. We just moved there not too long ago, and God is really blessing. And it's big and roomy. We got room to
From the
grow.
last time I've been there, you moved.
Yeah, we moved.
Okay,
We got
so
another
see,
place.
okay, that's the reason why. Because I was like, you gave me the first address pretty quick, so it has to be something new that's creeping on. Oh, God is moving in mysterious
God is
ways.
good.
Yeah, we're gonna pray for blessings over your new endeavor. So, Pastor Andre, for anyone who would like to find your book online, where and how could they do so?
They can find it on Amazon. God First Responders. You can type in that or type in my name, Andre Smith, and it'll come up. Or you can find me on Facebook, Andre Smith. On Instagram, it's still Andre Smith. On Twitter, I'm recently on Twitter. I'm not sure how to use it, but you can always inbox me. I can send you a copy, or you can get it off of Amazon.
Nice.
Yes. Now I want to say this. I do follow Andre on Facebook, and he's whenever he does anything spiritual, he always sends me nice motivational stuff. You know, just to keep my mind going. I'm a big reader, so whenever new information comes past my eye, I can't help but read it. Won't say I'm almost retaining it. All right, yeah, I want to be real with the people. I'm not always retaining it, you know, because not everything that we read and we learn we put to good use.
Yeah,
but
subconsciously, it gets ingrained in your mind. You know?
Sometimes it comes up at the weirdest moment. You're like, you don't even know how to pray, but when something comes up. Like, wow, Trevor, I didn't know you can pray like that.
Yeah, that's why it's really important to read the word. Because in those times where something's critical, you know, your child's injured or something happens, you know, I'm going to go to the word because I know that's truth and that's what's going to get me through the situation. So that's important.
Snap. All right,
I like Thanos snap. But
yo, you guys, you don't disappear when these snaps happen. I mean, I would like to say blessings appear in your life.
Blessings appear. That's good.
Yes. So Pastor Andre, I want to thank you first and foremost for your time, your appreciation, just the fact that you took your time out to come here and sit with us, just to give us a small look inside of your life, inside of your mind, inside of your work. You know, it was a pleasure. It was more than a pleasure, Pastor Andre. Pastor Andre, this is just for one more question. Just it came to mind. Okay. What time does service starts on Sunday? Just in case anybody wants to know. Our
service starts at 10:15 for Bible Sunday school and 11:30 for morning worship. So we'll be there at 11:30 if you just want to come to the morning service.
Okay.
And we like everybody. I one of my mottos, my thoughts. I don't want to have a dead church. I don't want to have a boring church. And I think a lot of times the young people get turned off and they end up outside because it's so boring. We want to have singing and we want to have clapping. We want to have young. I try to bring a lot of the up-to-date culture and stuff that's going on today in the service. I may do a reference to a song they know, or in the middle of my sermon, I'm like, oh wow. So it catches their attention and it relates to the message. So I try to keep everything up to date that not only the older people but the younger people can relate.
All right,
that's good stuff.
Yeah. So Pastor Andre, again, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your time, your patience, your effort. Let me ask you a question, Pastor Andre. Do you still do Periscope?
Not as much. I just did a couple the other day, and I'm not familiar with it. I got to get back used to it. But I think I'm gonna start back getting on Periscope and other forms of media to get out there. Because if you are on my Facebook page, you might get 1,000. I'm not just kidding. A whole lot of posts because I'm posting. God's always dropping something in my spirit, and so I'm always posting something. So I try to find avenues to get it out.
All right,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I love that. I like avenues. Avenues has been I could say giving us first responders in so many forms or shape. Pastor Andre, I want to say continue being a light.
Thank you.
Because there's I know of certain areas in Cocoa, Florida that is still very dark.
Yes.
Right. So there's light needs to be shed, and I guess that's one of the reasons why you're a first responder, because he puts you where it's dark, so you can start shedding some of that light. And I want to make sure, we can do all of that based on what was going on, especially in this world. We're seeing I want to say the craziness. I mean, we're in the state of Florida right now. Things go crazy back and forth with all the kidnapping or just all the crazy stuff.
There's always something in Florida
it's
going on.
it's just all the crazy stuff. Florida.
We need responders.
Florida's been doing. But we do need responders, guys. I would like to even go a little bit deeper. I mean, we need people to get a little bit more radical.
Yes.
You know, we need more freedom fighters. I mean, first responders is amazing, but the whole point of being a first responders is so you can be that secret agent.
Yes.
So you can be that freedom fighter. So please, guys, I want you guys to go out, take up a read, Pastor Andre's book.
Yeah, it's a quick read.
It is a quick read, and I'm saying this because my daughter is a big reader and she likes to jump upon me. Is that, Daddy, I read 120-page books in one day. Wow. Right?
Oh yeah.
So to watch, and just to give you an indent, it's only 93 pages.
Right.
And that's even with the information above the author.
Right.
You know? And not to get a little bit rude, one of the best places you can read is just sitting on top of the toilet.
Amen.
If you see,
Us men know that's our secret hiding spot.
that's our secret hiding
You
spot.
just don't know it yet.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
when you knew how to spot.
What, sure? You get peace in there. Baby, I need you to do something for me. Wait, I'm using the bathroom. I'm in the office.
It's the office.
First man cave.
That's the first man cave.
That's
right. So guys, I want you guys to, I mean, if you feel like, even if your vessel feel like it's filled, just let it overflow.
Right.
I mean, go out, grab the book, get the read on. I mean, get the knowledge. Go look at Pastor Andre, follow him. Let him be a guiding light in your life.
Yes.
More than anything else. Well, Pastor Andre, again, I want to say thank you.
I want to thank you. I want to
Yes,
appreciate everyone that that was a part of this today and invited me. I had a great time.
Oh,
I thank God. I'm hanging out with a bunch of first responders.
Yes.
Right.
So Pastor Andre, now I'm reaching.
All right.
I want to know when you finish with the Freedom Fighters, if we can get some exclusive info, and that you promise that you will come back as soon as you're finished, so we can go ahead and talk about the second book. I want that.
Oh yeah. I'll come back with some exclusive. Even in this book, God First Responders, there's a whole chapter on angels and stuff you probably wouldn't know if you wouldn't dig into it, about how when God created everything, the angels were singing. So there was worship going on the whole time God is creating. So worship creates an atmosphere for creativity and creation. So that's in the book. So in the next one I'll come and do it again.
Wow. I'm excited about that.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, Pastor Andre, what chapter is that for any one of our readers who wants to get?
No, let them read the whole
Let them read the whole chapter. Let them read it, right? We're gonna need you.
everything.
Yeah, we're gonna need you to pick the book up. We're gonna need you to read. I'm gonna say, get filled.
Yes.
I mean, we fill our stuff with stuff that's not positive.
Yeah.
All the time. Especially if you're watching like VH1 or BT. But that's
Come on now.
That don't even exist anymore.
I had to dig. I had to dig.
We don't want that watered down stuff.
You don't want anything watered down. I mean,
I also got a part in there about my out of body experience. So if you want to hear about how I went to a heavenly place and what happened and what I saw, it's in there too.
guys, breadcrumbs.
Read the book.
Read the book.
Now you keep saying overflowing sin, and something scares me, man. You don't know that you're full unless you're overflowing. Unless you're spilling over. You know what I mean? So that's just another gem for y'all, man.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, Don, you're talking about overflowing. Is basically within the last year, I feel like I had to empty my cup so I can refill it again.
That's true.
And that's something I want to tell people. Sometimes you have to get rid of stuff. You have to get rid of negativity out of your life. Stuff that's taking up space inside of you that is unnecessary.
Amen.
And I'm not saying I'm short with people. It's just I really don't have time for it anymore. I want to get to the meat of the issue, get it fixed, and get it moving. So my process in filling my cup down to get it overflown, the first thing I did was empty it out.
Yeah.
And I want to tell anybody, there's nothing wrong with starting from scratch. Sometimes you got to start from scratch. You feel me? If you're on the floor, there's only one way you could go. It's up.
Yeah.
Man.
You can't go nowhere else. You're already at the bottom.
Right.
So, and if your glass is empty, there's only one thing you can do.
Fill it up.
Is get filled. Right?
It's true.
Again, we thank you for coming on the show. We cannot wait for you to come back.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
This is Pastor Andre.
Pastor Andre, we're wrapping up right now. Normally I do the positive thought of the week.
No, we're coming back. We're coming back. Don't just take a little break.
I got some other things we want to talk about because I wanted you to give me the positive thought before you go.
Yeah, actually do that. I will agree.
Please do.
Give us a positive thought.
One scripture says that we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us. So I want to encourage you that whatever God lays on your heart, you can do it. If He says write the book, you can do it. If He says start back to school and get your degree in some career, you can do it. If God says, change your career, you're in a career for a long time, but God is switching you to another career, you can do it. All things are possible through Christ that strengthens us. You can be that husband, you can be that wife, you can be that entrepreneur. Whatever God has called you to do, know in your heart that you are able, you're equipped to do it, you're called to do it, you're anointed to do it, and we just got to learn to step out by faith and watch God manifest it before our eyes. So you can do it, just like Nike.
Just do it.
Do it. Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's Pastor Andre L. Smith.
Yes.
God's first responders called to the kingdom for such a time as this. Pastor Andre, we want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing all this knowledge, wisdom, and a lot of people aren't doing this, man. I mean, we need you, people like you, to step up, be the first responder, and really inspire and inspire the youth.
Yes.
Inspire those, even the elders, to inspire those that are out there to say, it is time to really step up our game and really dig deeper.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Pastor Andre.
So we're going to take a quick break.
Yes, guys. We'll be back.
Thank you.
All right.
Hello, this is Janelle Fernandez, immigration attorney. Please contact me with all of your immigration questions, inquiries, or comments on your process. You can reach me at fernandesimmigration.com, FERNANDES, fernandesimmigration.com. Or you can call the firm and schedule a consult at 754-300-8434. That's 754-300-8434. I am here to help.
All right, guys. Back on a little break. I want to say thank you very much to Pastor Andre for coming out.
Dope.
Dope ain't the word. Information is key. Knowledge is power.
Yes.
I'm a strong believer in the Lord. So I feel like if you're in any form of dark place in your life, only the Lord can lead you to the light. That's just my opinion, guys. I'm not trying to push any religious belief on anyone.
No, it's the truth.
Is it? Facts right now, Bill?
It's the truth, man. Yeah.
All right, so guys, for anybody who really wants, please go ahead and look up Pastor Andre. It's Andre L. Smith. You can find him on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. He says his Twitter is not up and running 100%, but hit him up there if you want any information. If you would like to read a book, the question I should have asked him before he left is there an audio book? Because I know technology is key.
I don't think there is yet.
Hey, you'd be surprised. Not yet. So guys, go ahead and reach out to him. Grab that information. Guys, as the week goes on, we got more and more and more coming. I promise you guys that it's a little bit of taste. I think I'm gonna set something up where I can teach you guys how to make some money.
Really?
Yeah, why not, right? I got stuff I've been dabbling in, so I'm gonna let you guys into my world a little bit later on in the future. So guys, again, this is CN from the One Pop Podcast. Episode is out. We'll see you. Peace.
Yeah, peace.